Hey everybody, great to see you again. Thanks for stopping in at the Red Barn, where if you've joined us in the past, you know that our primary focus is working on a series of hot-rodded 914s. We've got the LS3 powered 914, the Ferrari 360 powered 914, and the focus of this episode, the Group 5 wide-body 914. We're going to be running over to the secret undisclosed shop where that work is going on, and we're going to work with Greg to see how far he can get stabilizing the front end of that car and getting all this sheet metal put in. If you've joined us in the past, you know that that car is a noodle. And in this episode, we're going to find out just how noodly that front end is. Anyway, let's run over there and see how far we can get, shall we? Enjoy. "914 people will recognize this as the front trunk floor pan. This is all the material that's been cut out of that poor car, including all this nice stuff where that nose panel is going to go on. So we got that. All right, next phase begins. We've got wide red here on the two post, and we've been spending all of our time on the top side of the car. Let's go take a look at what's on the underside of the car. Okay, so what do we got? We got a little remnant piece that's left over that was still connected over here. That's kind of cute. And what else do we have? You can see what a lovely, that is just, oh my goodness, that is just a piece of aluminum. And the steering rack, always good to use a wing nut to secure a plate to hold something on the inside of your car. Let me turn you upside down. Now we are right side up. Sorry about that. So again, coming in from the underside of the car, there's the cross member. There's the coolant lines. Yeah, this is lovely too. You know, this especially, right? The way that washer doesn't actually do anything besides angly grab that. That is the support structure for underneath the factory pedal box. Yeah. So, you know, at least they were consistent in the hackery. Everything else looks sort of normal. Yeah, so we will just get going on this and get this whole situation corrected. And I think you can see that this piece normally comes up and goes around the corner. You saw that on the factory floor replacement piece that we got from Restoration Designs. Here's a picture of it, and you can see how it comes up around the corner here. I'm just hoping it's long enough to reach, I don't know if you can see it with the leaves that are in the way, maybe on this side, but they've cut the panel up to here where my finger is. Hopefully we've got enough of a curve to get that. If not, we're gonna have to fab a little strip to go in there. But this, you know, it looks like we're just gonna slice right down kind of where they cut it already, maybe just a little bit more outboard to about here, and then just patch in this corner of each of these and the whole center section. And as I mentioned, we got a couple repairs to do here. We got to add a set of tabs or another panel out here so we have something to spot weld the nose to. So the radiator's got to come out, and then it's a simple matter a simple matter of replacing that whole center section. But hopefully, you know, once that goes in, the nose goes on, and the front of the car is essentially fixed. So we will be getting on that as soon as the radiator is out of the way. And now some real fun stuff begins. What we're trying to do is pick a couple of reference points to verify that the front of the car is still square in terms of the front of this suspension pickup point appears to be a little low. So what we're thinking we're going to do is get a measurement, a level measurement off of the crossbar, which is picking up chassis points behind the area of the chassis that's been compromised, and then using the disc or the level between the fronts of the torsion bar A-arms, or the A-arms torsion bar goes in there, as I mentioned earlier, and verifying that those are the same level. So we're just trying to play with how flexible this part of the car is. And I've loosened up this cross brace setup so that it's not trying to hold things in place. And we think we can get some movement here, but we're going to go verify all these measurements. But you can see the fun this is going to be. Okay, so Greg's under there with some 1, 2, 3 blocks against the bottom of the crossbar. And we're going to come back and do this with a digital level, but we were just trying to get a rough eyeball on how far off this is, if at all. So that looks right on.
Yeah, that's pretty right on.
Okay.
I'm just dancing it around a little bit to make sure that we're there.
Okay, so
Okay.
that looks good. All
Yep.
right, so that looks pretty level. So now he's going to come back out, and then we can see if, when we raise it, we're going to have to go back and check everything because we're going to be lifting the whole car. All right, so now we got a big straight edge coming across the bottom of the front of the A-arm mounts.
And right now we're...
And what you can see is we ain't level.
No, so
this corner is low, which we eyeballed out. And so what I've got here, let me move you back here and you can see the whole contraption. We just got the always dangerous 2x4 stood up on a floor jack.
Yep.
And now, yes, we know that we're changing the angle of the rear of the car, but as I lift this up, what's your level doing?
And we're there.
Okay, but we're gonna have to go past that.
Yeah, go past it. Okay.
All right, now redo the back measurement.
Yep.
And see if we're at the same point. So we're past level
Here.
in the front, and we want to be a little bit past level in the back. What do you think?
We are still there. It's twisting. It's definitely twisting.
Okay, but what's going on? Is it level in the back?
It's
I
level.
can't see
It's
from.
level.
Okay, so
Level
we're
in
a
the
little
back.
high in the front, so we can pretty reliably just play with this front corner.
Yep.
And know we're not moving the back too much. The good news about suspension pickup points, it's not the end of the world. Almost no car is completely perfectly square, especially these old cars. That's what suspension adjustment's for, and that's what corner weighting's for. If you look back on the one of the LS episodes where I didn't corner balance it, but I corner weight it, you can see that when this is all over and done with, we will end up playing with how each of the suspension corners is sprung to try to get the car to weigh the same in all the places it's supposed to weigh the same. So the good news is we are correct in eyeballing that this needs to be raised not as much as we can, but this needs to be raised as close to level with the crossbar as we thought. And we will go after trying to figure out exactly how we want to do that here as we progress. The other thing to know is this area right here is not a box, it's just a shape, because if I take you around the other side, you can see the A-arm runs right in that channel. So this is literally just one piece of sheet metal right here. So there's not, just as we've been saying all along, there's not a lot holding the front of this car together. So yeah, the fun begins. Okay, smart people who figured out my mistake. We got all excited about figuring out the levelness of the front of this car. We stopped after we filmed and we both went, wait a second. The odds of that thing being pushed, that side being pushed down, are a lot lower than the chances that that side got pushed up, because it's been driving around like that. So we're gonna have to get under the car and figure out what's going on here. It makes more sense that that side's been pushed up and it needs to be dropped down, but we'll have to figure that out. And maybe it's a little of both, but I don't see how it couldn't be just that side. Anyway, so we will continue working on that, but Greg has been hard at work trimming that big panel down. And again, you wouldn't know this, but the important part about this for us is this nose section, this front part. And it was not uncommon for cars to have air conditioning added to them. They were never available. Air conditioning was never an available option from the factory. So anytime you see a 914 with air conditioning, it was a dealer modified upgrade, or done by the owner at some point after the car was purchased. But they cut the base of the floor out to put the condenser in, and so there is a patch panel that replaces the floor, and unfortunately it doesn't come up far enough. So yes, we had to pay for a bunch of stuff that we're not going to replace, but as you can see, let's put that back in there.
Yeah.
And Greg is now getting close to...
I cut twice and it's still short. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And yeah, you can see my comment about do we have enough at the back. You can see, yes, we do. We have plenty. So here he's getting down to the last bit of the nitty gritty to figure out where this is going to be cut and butt welded in. And then where's the little cut off corner piece?
Oh, yeah.
And then those big pieces that, well, the parts that have been truncated, you can see this isn't going to sit down, but we're just going to stitch that in to the part here, because otherwise we have to cut out around this mount. We got to get back into spot welds under here. It just starts to get messy. So it's going to be easy enough to stitch this in here. And you can see that's going to get spotted to this part. This little corner gets spotted onto this surface. And so this is, we just got the royal we again,
Yeah.
have a few more hours before that part gets put in there. We also do need to figure out which way the nose is twisted before that gets welded in. All right, as we're working to square this front end up, we were concerned about how much force we might have to put into it, but here is something interesting. So completely let go of it. Okay, now pull down.
This is about
How much do you weigh?
160.
Yeah, so this is like,
And I'm not lifting my feet off the
we're not
ground.
even, so the front of this car is so noodly. It's going to be quite simple to get it back down parallel. Yeah, and so this is all about to get tweaked into place so that Greg can stitch the bottom panel back in, and then we'll get the nose back on it, and that should stabilize the front end.
Well, then
But
also-
boy, oh boy, this is a lot less stable than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it will be mo better, as I keep saying. Progress. So, Greg has got this panel almost set to go. There are some gaps, but that's because it's not fully positioned, and you can see I can push it around, but don't worry about that. But this is just barely tacked in the front so that he can work it into position. And then you've heard me mention the struts that we want to add, and here is that's a piece of 1.5-inch tube, and then here's a piece of hanger wood that happens to slide right in there, but it gives a little adjustable length tube setup, and we can sort of see where things are going to end up. But you can see now how this is going to work. This is the front suspension mount at the front of the A-arm. And so a plate will be added in this area where this part of the tube will land. And then this upper section is going to get plated over to here, which is about as good a shot as we're going to get at the front suspension tower. And then this will end up right kind of where it is here. And once the front end is back to exactly square where we want it, these will go in and lock that in place. So this is completely additive to the fact that all this structure is going back in and the nose is going back on. So that should take care of stabilizing this front end to be exactly what it needs to be and what it should be. And we'll be back in business. So we have worked out that this side is up by about 0.4 of a degree. So you can see what we're going on. What we're going on now is Greg has got the spreader plates cut. This one has a step in it. This piece down here does. So this has got to get a very slight little step up. You know, same thing on this side, but maybe this is an easier one to see. You see, this is going to end up, got some clearance still to do, but this plate will end up essentially there. And then he has made up this plate for this area. So it sits right there. And obviously duplicated on the other side. So with those in place, now I can't hold everything in place in film, but you can see he's worked out just some PVC pipe to work out the angles and things. This is his preferred method, and you can see where this is going to end up, right? Big spreader plate up to that big spreader plate up there. Now, This is flexing a little bit because this piece of sheet metal is preventing it from moving to exactly where we want. And this is doing nothing. Remember, this going back to the very beginning, this was the leftover part of the spare tire surround. Same thing on this side. So these are essentially doing nothing for us at this point. So we're going to remove these spot welds. Those will be gone. And then this piece will be remade to replace this and give us something to spot weld the nose to. Now, the other thing that's happened is this has been completely disconnected because I think you can probably see if I sight down, well, that one's not as bad, but if you sight down this ridge and you sight down this ridge, I don't know if that's coming through on the video, but this whole nose, this whole bracket, and it's preventing the nose from being able to sit where it needs to relative to this particular piece of material. So this has got to get cut and narrowed. This right here, you can see it bends. I don't know if you can see it, but it bends out right here. So this piece has got to come this way. And if you look at this piece, you can see what's going on. This was just tweaked over. So it's just, this thing's got to get changed. Its dimension has to get changed. So that wasn't doing us any favors. That took a second to figure out. So next step is going to be, he's going to get all the plates ready to go. Then we're going to get the nose pushed exactly where it needs to go. We got the digital level over here, so we can get this back to where it needs to be. Then those struts will go in, and that's going to stabilize the whole front end. Then it's just a matter of fitting the sheet metal, and we should be all set. I keep saying the royal we. It's we.
No.
Right.
So, you know, but you've done so much with coming in, doing the paper templates, confirming the distance. This is total team effort. So every time that he says that I'm doing it and discounting what he's doing on this, this is a true team effort. So I don't mind it every time he says we. So.
Well, and I would tell you that he's doing the actual work. And I'm just doing the sort of consulting on this is what 914s look like and how they're supposed to go back together. So yeah, it's working out great. The spreader plates are put in, low on both sides, big ones up top, and the tubes are fit. And we are about to get this nose positioned and get this side tacked in, because once this is tacked in, this thing's not moving anywhere. Pardon the background noise, there's other people working here today. So anyway, we're gonna get going on locking this nose in place. Okay, so this is interesting. When you heard me mention how I thought this is way too much material being taken out of this fender vent, normally the fender vent is taken up to, I don't know, maybe about this height, but I want you to watch something. What Greg's doing is Greg is pushing down on this, and what I want you to see is, see how that fender's flexing?
I'm only putting like 20, 30 pounds
But
on
my
this.
point is, imagine how much stronger this would be if just with more material right in here, it would not be allowing this to pull over nearly as far. Yes, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to take care of, but that just goes to show you exactly how flexy this thing is. It's crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, we're about to tack these in. All right, and with just that tack, it's not moving.
Moving the car.
It's moving the whole car now. So that is mo better. And now the money shot is going to be working out exactly the dimension we want before he tacks in this side. There it is. It's a match. And there, after all that, is one stabilized front end. Now again, just tacked and a single tack here, but it completely lock this thing down. And I won't do it now, but when you bounce on that bar attached to the front torsion nub, the car moves on the lift. It doesn't flex the front end. And so the problem she has solved, and as you saw earlier, the level between the front of the A-arm pickup points and the rear crossbar is samey same. So this is a major milestone for Wide Red. Now we got some final welding to do, the Royal We as always, and now you can also see when all these little bits get stitched in, we will be ready to fit the nose. And if it wasn't clear, again, hard to see, but this is too wide. This support structure is too wide on both sides. So this is going to have to get trimmed down and re-welded here, but that is not the end of the world. And then we'll probably just pull that out for now and get the nose on there and then fit that back in. Anyway, there it is. And there's the man. Good job, Greg. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, let's wrap this episode up. Greg's not here, but let's all say thanks to him for all his awesome work. And let's just show you how far we made it this week. You saw that this got final welded. I think you saw that this got final welded. So this front end is now stabilized. And here you can see he's about halfway done putting this in. He's got some of the finish work done, and this will give you the full wrap up on these support pieces. This one's been put in. You can see spot welded here to this part of the nose, spot welded to here, and then stitched into where it was cut off, and almost done being metal finished. And yeah, he's got some fitment to do over here, and you can see this is what this looks like as it's coming together. That's going to go right on there like that. And then the nose goes on, and we will be all set. So I'm going to call it for this episode and say thanks for watching. Everybody take care. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and we'll talk to y'all again real soon. Bye-bye.